My name's Jake. I grew up in San Leandro until I was 9 years old, and then I moved to Pleasanton. After high school, I went to community college for a few years. I kind of figured I wanted to transfer to like a Christian school just because that's what people did. But I felt like I wasn't really doing anything. I didn't really know what I was working towards, and so I wanted to figure out how to love God more than anything. And so I heard about this thing called a discipleship training school through an organization called Youth with a Mission, or YWAM. And they base this all over the world that you can do this 6-month course where you kind of just learn to be a disciple. And so I decided to go to Australia when I was 20 years old and just learned tons about God and who he was and how he wants us to follow him truly. So I was in Australia with YWAM for 6 months. Australia for 3 months, and then I did a 2.5-month missions outreach to Japan. What I learned was that Jesus actually is Lord, and that to call him Lord is to give him all of you, not just some of you, not just the parts that feel comfortable, and to let him guide you instead of having your own dreams and this kind of like American dream version of Christianity in your life, but truly just lay everything down to him. My relationship with God grew a ton over those 6 months. I realized that he was so close and that he was someone that I could trust and he was worth putting my whole life into. And that was huge because as I started walking through trials, I saw God as someone dependable and someone who was there for me and who gave me this supernatural peace and courage even. When I got back from YWAM, a few weeks later, I found out that my mom actually had liver cancer, and it was stage 4, and that it was pretty much too late for the doctors to do anything about. So it was really scary, but I kind of just noticed that the timing of it was so just supernatural and that God was preparing me in this 6-month season to just walk through this and trust him and know that he was real. It was really hard. It was difficult to be at home knowing that my mom was slowly passing away, and it was actually even harder to leave because I decided to go back to Australia and be on staff. So I actually left at my mom's encouragement. My mom really encouraged me to leave and to go follow what I felt God was doing. And I noticed that as I chased after God and as I made him Lord and decided to do what he wanted me to do, what he called me to, over what I felt was right, I impacted my mom so much, and she grew in relationship with God, and that over the last months of her life, she started seeing God as someone relational and Jesus as someone relational, and ultimately God used me to bring her to him. Knowing that me leaving to go back to Australia might have been the last time that I saw my mom, I just kind of realized that like God was calling me to go and follow him and to serve him in missions and to disciple people in that. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that was more important than anything I could have done, because my mom seeing the faith that I had to actively follow him and walk out and leave in the last months of her life pretty much were, I think, ultimately what led her to question who he was more and to see that he was so relational and real, and that she was just as real in my life as he was in her life. I would kind of Skype my mom over the last 6 months or so of her life while I was gone, and I kind of noticed that she saw this hope and this strength in her that was just quiet and resounded in me. But when I came home for the funeral and I talked to my uncle, that was when he really kind of filled me in and just how much she'd grown, just the courage that she had and just the last minutes of her life. And yeah, she passed away with a smile, like knowing that she was going to meet her creator. I think those things, when I heard them when I got home, just wrecked me, and I was so grateful to God that he did that in her life. I could have given in to fear. I could have given in to just depression or anything, and I could have pitied myself, and I could have decided to just wallow and let my life be defeated there, I guess, and it probably would have knocked me down for months or years or who knows how long. But I just chose to keep going and trust him and know that he has a purpose for everything, and that his glory is going to shine through anything, through any of these struggles. Jesus is worth fixing our eyes on in the midst of trials, because he's the only one that's going to get us through it. And that if we try to get through it on our own, we're going to fall on our face and we're going to fail, and we're going to become bitter with him because we think that he wasn't there for us, but really we just chose not to go to him. And yeah, he's bigger than any of that, and that's the only reason that we should go to him, is that he's the only one worth going to.